The number one thing that's defining of a bad ego is a lack of humility. You know, whenever I've seen some guy and I'm just like, man, this guy just has the shittest, this guy just has the worst. Whenever I've been hanging out with someone socially, and I'm just like, you know, this guy just has the worst attitude and has something so unlikable about them, it's usually they have no humility. Like that, you just can't have a normal conversation with them without them leading with their ego. You know, you're trying to have a practical conversation along the lines of like, hey bro, you're incompetent when it comes to dating the opposite sex. I'm trying to give you some advice here because I know what the hell I'm talking about, and you're a desperate, dateless simp. So maybe you should take some of my advice. And they can't hear your advice because of ego, because of their bad ego. They can't admit to themselves that they are incompetent. Like, for example, one time I just had to say to a guy, yeah, he was definitely like a straight up simp. Your typical simp, and he had no humility about it. Like if you're a simp, just admit you're a simp. You probably need to change a few things, right? But you know, one thing I've noticed, simps don't know they're simps. Simps do not understand that they are simps, right? They don't understand they are simps. Right, so there's this guy, I'm trying to give him some advice. And he keeps talking to me with his ego, like, oh yeah, nah, blah, blah, blah. Like trying to flex his, and like this guy's just completely incompetent. Like completely incompetent, bro. This guy probably hasn't had an interaction with a female in like years, right? Probably years. And even then, there's probably some weird thing where it's like a, you know what I'm talking about, right? So, I remember I just got to the point where I said, bro, you're incompetent. I said, bro, if I gave you a task, buddy, to go out this week and to get laid by a woman that's like a 5 or above, you will not be able to do it, man. I said, if your life depends on it, you will not be able to do it. I said, you are a simp. I'm trying to tell you that you're a simp, buddy. So I said, bro, I'm trying to tell you that you're a simp so you can do better, so you can not be a simp. I'm trying to call it out so you can understand that you got a massive deficit in life, and it's not going to serve you well. But no good deed goes unpunished when you're dealing with a simp. And he starts like bragging about random shit that just has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's like, dude, like what is it with these freaking guys, right? You know what it is? Humility. These guys have no humility. They just cannot admit where they're at. You know, whenever I've made massive progress in my life, it's where I've admitted I do not have the result. I'm not the guy with the result, in the sense that, you know, if I'm overweight, hey, I need to get back in the gym. I need to take some advice here on how to get back into nutrition and stuff like that. You know, like if you don't have the result, bro, shut the hell up and go. Like, be thankful and grateful when you hear someone give you the information that you probably need to hear. But I guess it also alludes to the fact that people that have not had a lot of success in their life, they have no confidence to fall back on. And for some reason, they're stuck in this social game of always trying to measure their ego towards the 5 people around them, because they have no ambition, they have no goals, they have no higher level of thinking. For example, so when I told this guy, I said, bro, you're overweight, you're definitely, you're below a 5. Like, you're below a 5. And that was me being nice. I was like, bro, you're a 5 or below on the sexual marketplace, right? Women do not find you attractive. You have not had the initiative to go learn game, go learn social skills. I've given you these resources. You don't have the motivation to go read that stuff because you think you know better, right? I said, you are the definition of incompetent. Like, you are straight up incompetent. It doesn't get more incompetent than you. I said, I said, bro, put the ego aside, man. Put the ego aside. You ain't fooling anyone, man. You ain't fooling anyone. And I have a saying, right? It goes like this: live and let suffer, man. Because you can be really evangelical about this information when you fully get unplugged from your plugged in lies. You go on this stage where you become evangelical and you want to say with your friends, and you see your friends suffering or people around you suffering, and you got the answers for them. You have the answers to set them free, but they do not have the ability to listen to you because they're still plugged in, and it will make you question some things, man. So you will try to help some guy, and if you try, the more nicer you're trying to deliver the information to them, the harder it is for them to listen. They do kind of need that brutal awakening. So if you try to be around the bush and say, "Oh, come on, man, blah blah blah," they're not going to listen, right? Until the day. But if you say to some guy like, "Hey, bro, you're straight up incompetent. You are the definition of incompetence when it comes to dealing with women. Like, bro, you're dating single mothers, man. You're the definition of incompetence. You're overweight. You're the definition of incompetence, man." Like I remember I said to one guy, I said, "Bro, I was so tired of this guy because he was such a fucking loser." And I said, bro, you're simping for a single mother, okay? You are simping for a single mother, man. Okay, you are the definition of incompetence. Because if you weren't incompetent, and if you actually understood female psychology, which you don't, you probably wouldn't be simping for a single mother, okay? But you were simping for a single mother. That's what, like I don't know, like you are incompetent, buddy. You are the definition of incompetence. Let's look at your history. Oh, you wifed up a single mother. Yeah, you're the definition of incompetence. That's not a brag. That's a shame. You should be ashamed of that. But I've got more respect for some guy that has humility. Whole point of this conversation. These guys don't have humility. They can't admit to themselves, man. They cannot admit to themselves that they messed up by making poor choices, poor decisions. Like, yeah, bro. You should admit to yourself that wifing up that single mother and wasting all your resources raising another man's kid was not conducive to your goals and your pursuits in life, man. Okay? It was not. It was not at all. You should be ashamed of yourself. And I've got more respect for the guy that can be honest with himself and say, yeah, he messed up and he's going to try and do better. But the guy that tries to lie to himself and tries to tell a story, I'll tell you a good story, right? So 10 years ago, I had a buddy, and he wifed up a single mother. So no surprise, what happened was going to happen. If you're still plugged in, I'll explain it for you. Once hypergamy gets its needs met, it bounces, man. It doesn't give a shit. So he wifed up a single mother, and it went exactly as you could predict it would go. Comes in, she offloads the burden of raising another man's kid onto him. He foots the bill. She gets the visa and the new ticket to a new country, whatever, and he wastes his resources and his life, his energy raising some other man's kid, whatever. So she gets her needs met. When her needs met, bounces out of there, done, finished. That's basic hypergamy, man. If you don't understand that, man, don't know what to tell you, man. Like you need to subscribe to this fucking channel because you're a dumb cunt. Yeah, so like she divorced him, and when she divorced him, right? I was there. I just become friends with him when he was going through the divorce. So he saw it accurately. His story was, she took advantage of him, she played him, absolutely saw the sucker for what he was, and took advantage of the guy for sure. Now, what happens is we tell ourselves a story. Right? So over the years, I kind of lost contact with the guy over 10 years, right? And I crossed paths with him again 10 years later. And his story had changed. And now the story is all sweet and sour and all this bullshit about You know, like, oh, they just fell apart. And it's a completely different story, but it's not the truth. What he has done, he's told a story to try and save face. So when he's at the barbecue, when he's talking to friends he doesn't want to be too open with, he'll tell a story like, oh yeah, you know, try and make it, to try and make him sound like less of a sucker. It's an ego defense because he has no humility, right? Has no humility to say, yeah, I messed up, got taken advantage of, but I'll learn from it. That's the guy with humility, right? But he had no humility. So he's told this story, right? Time and time again to try and rationalize and justify, you know, that he's not a complete sucker that got taken advantage of, right? And so the story's changed. And I pulled him up on this because I heard the story. I heard the accurate story. I heard the accurate story when he got divorced. She took advantage of me. She used me for this. She used me for the visa. She used me for coming into the country. She used me to raise some other man's kid. And then she just got her needs met and bounced. That's the truth. I pulled him up on this, man. I said, bro, you've been... Because he forgot that he told me that I was there when he was going through the divorce, right? And he's telling the same story to me, like fucking as if I don't know any better. And he's like, yeah, nah, he's trying to justify, like he's, to try and say that she actually cared about him and she actually, it was a genuine relationship and all this sort of bullshit. And I just called him out on it straight away. I called him out. I said, dude, that's bullshit, man. I said, that's the story you've been telling yourself to try and save face, to make yourself feel better. I said, bro, you need some humility. You need to just be honest with yourself, man. You need to fucking be honest with yourself. You need to admit that's like you got played, buddy. You got fucking played, man. You know, you got played, you got taken advantage of, and learn from it, man. Learn from it. But this guy did not learn from it. Actually, that same guy, he went on to like get involved with another single mother, and that's a whole story I'm going to share for another video. It gets insane, man. These guys, man. Like, I don't know. So humility, sometimes you gotta be honest with yourself, man. You gotta be really, 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 really honest with yourself. Admit where you need to improve yourself. Admit where you need to make changes. And yeah, that's it.